today I'll be speaking like a farmer and not the person in charge of forest biodiversity in Kenya. I grew up in Taita Hills. I was born there, and I worked there for about 12 years before I went to Nairobi to sit behind a desk and sign vouchers. So the Taita Hills, I think we've already been told where it's located. It rises up in the middle of a dry plain, and it's part of the Eastern Arc Mountains. And I think one of the unique things about that area, it's one of the few areas where you find over 34 endemic species. Its occurrence of endemic species per unit area, I think it's almost unmatched. And there are always new discoveries of plants or animals as the research goes on. And again, it's a very important water catchment area. I think that was mentioned before. But the red patches there are the Eastern Arc Mountains. You can see where Taita Hills is. This is the county, and the Taita Hills is almost at the center of that area. The green part is the Tsavo National Park. These are the ranch areas, and you can imagine what role it plays in that area. So essentially, there are few indigenous cloud forests remaining, probably around 400 hectares, within which you find these endemic species. Agriculture in the hills is intensive, small-scale subsistence. The typical crops I've mentioned there, and also livestock keeping is the other. Dairy animals mainly in the hills, and beef in the plains. So you can see in the hills you have those zero grazing units, and in the lowlands this is more common. The farmers are experiencing quite some challenges in ensuring food security, while at the same time making sure they don't mess up the environment a lot. And some of this is the changing temperatures that people are experiencing. Sometimes I normally wish I knew about thermometers when I was a small boy, the rain gauges. Maybe I'll have collected enough data to really show it graphically what is happening. But most of it is more in memory now. I didn't have a chance then. Some of the observations are decreasing crop yields. There are several factors. It's not climate change alone. There's the issue of declining soil fertility, increased soil erosion, increased pest incidence, shift in rainy seasons, unpredictable rainfall, and increase in human-wildlife incidences, both in terms of human injury, crop rates, livestock loss, disease transmission. And one of the clear examples is this river. This is Voi River. I can see one of the main rivers draining the Taita Hills. When I was a small boy, we used to go and swim. I remember when I was in class 5, we'd sneak out in the afternoon to go and swim. But today, this river cannot even drown a baby born today. So you can imagine those changes that are happening. And apart from Voi River, we have Mwatate River that is also very crucial in supplying, supporting wildlife, especially in the ranch areas. Coupled with that is the frequent crop failure. I remember the last major harvest we had. I was a kid, I think I must have been in class 2 or 3, when my parents harvested about 15 bags of maize from their 6 acres plot. But today, even getting a full bag is quite a headache. And this has forced a lot of us farmers to do what we know is wrong, but sometimes you are left with little choice. This picture here is trying to show somebody who has cultivated up to the stream. And apart from this, we have areas that are wetlands and are being drained, and today you find maize, beans being grown there. Thus even worsening the water situation. A few of us have gone ahead, like nowadays, I no longer bother growing maize. So I changed my farm. I'm growing a small forest now, and my neighbors are not very happy with me because the primates that keep raiding their crops find a home in my place. You can see that one is the Sykes monkey. It used to be the only primate that used to bother people, but because of climate change, the yellow baboon is also moving up. It's leaving the lowlands and coming up the hills, probably because it is warmer or probably because they find more food there. And you find most of the farmers now have to wake up by 5 in the morning. They should be out in their chambers or in their gardens to guard their crops up to some time after 7. Otherwise, if they don't do that, they don't get anything. Some of the experience also, the honey producers are saying today we cannot produce enough honey. One of my good friends is a beekeeper. That is what he does for a living. He has over 300 beehives. And he says nowadays he finds that when used to attain like 80% hive colonization, nowadays he hardly attains 50%. So I don't know, that could also be due to climate change, but of course there is the issue of pesticide use that could also have contributed to that. And I'm not the only farmer who's here. I'm the farmer from the highlands. There's my colleague there, a farmer from the lowlands. Maybe he can say a few words of their experiences down in the lowlands.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Mwang'ombe Mjomba from Taita Research Station, representing the local farmer in the lowlands of Taita. As you have heard from my colleague during the presentation, is that we have Taita Hills, the larger community living on the hilly areas, and then we have people who have moved from the hilly place to the lowlands. And I, being one of the farmers who moved to the lower areas, we have also lots of challenges when it comes to human-wildlife conflicts, and this has also been contributed to climate change as we fight for the scarce natural resources around those areas, as others do farming up hills to the river banks, destroying the natural resources, which is now becoming more scarce with too much erosion taking place. We need to have conflicts with other users as well. So what you guys can see up here, we had rains in February, which we didn't expect to have rains by that time, according to the 2 seasons we do experience in our country. We have the rains starting from March, April, May, and then rains starting from October, November, December. But this time around, we had rains early enough in February. Some farmers actually planted maize and the other crops, and some didn't plant because we kind of get confused with this change of rainfall patterns. And I happen to be one of the farmers who had planted early, and those are some of the challenges I faced. That's me, my young girl there. That's our maize field. And later towards the harvesting time, Norsu, the elephants, got to our field, causing much destruction. And this is what actually happening in Taita. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, Maybe just go back a little. Here you can imagine the green part and the yellows and some of this brown. They are all inhabited by wildlife. And once guys mess up the central area, then there's little water and the wildlife start following the source of the water. And since, elephants have, an excellent memory, maybe it is encoded in their genes, I don't know. Where the young ones were taken by their grandmother or the matriarch during drought or something, they'll use the same route even 60 years later when they have an issue. And when we have people settling down, then these guys follow that route they followed under their grandmother, and they find you put your small structure there, then you create conflict. And therefore you see the issues of climate change are affecting almost everyone, the animals, us, and you can imagine more people are settling down, so there's going to be more conflict. I remember one of the ranches here was divided into a settlement scheme, so you can see as climate change increases, those conflicts are going to get worse. Now, what do I expect as a farmer? What do you expect from a project like this one? More knowledge and understanding what is happening to the environment around me. I'm seeing changes, but I can't tell why those changes are happening. So I expect more knowledge that will help me understand what is happening. We expect that with that knowledge, I'm able to get some solutions to the challenges I'm facing in food production, and therefore enhancing food security. And in the process, we'll learn other mitigation measures to climate change and its effect, and even adaptation measures. In brief, asanteni sana, that is all the farmer had to say.